Story: The Collapse of a Titan. Chapter 1: The Reckoning. The boardroom at Tesla was a battleground. Tension hung in the air like a thick fog as Elon Musk sat at the head of the table, surrounded by faces of skepticism and barely concealed anger. The walls, adorned with images of electric cars and solar panels, betrayed no emotion, but the people sitting around that polished mahogany table were a different story. They were his investors, his once ardent supporters. Their faces were stern, their eyes steely with expectation. Elon shifted in his seat, the leather chair creaking slightly beneath him, as he met the gaze of the man opposite, a grizzled veteran of the board, James Hargrove. Hargrove was a bear of a man, his voice like gravel and his patience long since buried under piles of quarterly reports showing declining profits and missed deadlines. "Elon," Hargrove began, voice steady but tinged with a frustration that everyone in the room shared, "this can't go on. Investors are losing faith, and so are we. We need a course correction, and we need it now." Elon leaned back, absently playing with a neural bead he often carried as a reminder of the future of AI. This time, however, it reminded him of the tangled web of his own creation. "I understand your concerns, James, believe me. But everything is still salvageable. I have plans." "Plans?" interjected Sarah Liu, another board member, her sharp tone cutting through the air like a knife. "Plans aren't enough, Elon. We've heard promises for years. It's action we need." The other board members murmured their agreement, and the room seemed to close in. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the vision they'd all signed up for, one that was now hanging by a thread. Elon nodded, feeling the weight of their gaze, but also drawing on the depths of his relentless optimism, the same font of determination that had seen him through countless challenges before. "I know there have been setbacks, and I've made some outright mistakes. Trust me, every loss hits me harder than you can imagine, but I'm committed to resolving them. Restoring the value of our company is my top priority." Hargrove sighed, leaning back, his fingers drumming on the table. "All right then, Elon, what's your plan to bring us back from the brink?" Taking a deep breath, Elon outlined his vision, a comprehensive turnaround strategy intended to breathe life back into Tesla. It was one part innovation, as he discussed reinvigorating research and development to outpace competitors with new battery technology, and one part stabilization, with plans to bring back key staff and restore order to the manufacturing processes that had once set industry standards. He also touched on restoring relationships with SpaceX's partners and reeling in political entanglements that now threatened to strangle the very companies they should have supported. "Story, give me your trust one more time," Elon implored, his voice softer, almost vulnerable. "I've been distracted, I admit, but at my core, I am still the man you trusted to change the world." There was a long silence as the board absorbed his words. Elon could feel his heart pounding in his chest, reminded of the stakes at play, not just for himself, but for everyone who had believed in him. Finally, Hargrove nodded, a slow acceptance indicating not forgiveness, but a willingness to hold on to hope for a while longer. "We'll watch closely, Elon," Hargrove said, his tone a warning. "For all of our sakes, you'd better succeed." With the meeting adjourned, the board members began to file out, leaving Elon alone in the stark silence of the boardroom. The echoes of their footsteps faded as he sat contemplatively, staring at a landscape beyond the expansive glass window, a horizon lined with the silhouette of Tesla's sprawling innovation campus. A horizon that spoke of challenge, change, and the relentless pursuit of redemption. Chapter 2: Elon's Exodus. While Elon faced the ire of financiers, another narrative unfolded 1,000 miles away. Elana Martin, lead propulsion engineer at SpaceX, stood on the rooftop of an old brick building overlooking downtown Austin. The evening sun dripped molten gold across the skyline, but in her mind was the looming shadow of uncertainty. SpaceX had been her life, a dedication driven by the staunch belief in its mission to make life multiplanetary. Yet under the weight of recent chaos, steadfast loyalty faltered. The company she once celebrated as a pioneer now felt like a struggling relic, encumbered by its creator's broader crises. Ilana's phone buzzed softly. Steve, another senior engineer and her confidant during endless nights at launch sites, had texted, "Room for discussion is booked. Decision time." She sighed deeply, pocketing the phone and heading down the metal stairway. The sound of her boots against the steps echoed with each step, a physical manifestation of her internal resolve solidifying by the moment. Arriving at the meeting room, Ilana found Steve and a handful of core team members already gathered. Their faces reflected a shared unease, but also a readiness to face whatever came next. "This isn't just about employment anymore," Ilana began, seating herself at the table. "We've given years of our lives because we believe in the mission, because we believe in a future where humanity thrives beyond Earth. But right now we're stuck, and it feels like our impact is slipping away." Steve nodded, adjusting his glasses. "It's like building the world's greatest rocket only to let it rust in the yard. Elon's too caught up in everything else. Our deadlines are slipping, key opportunities evading us, and morale's dwindled. We need leadership that's present and engaged." Story voices murmured agreement, and the frustration that had been simmering quietly for weeks began to bubble over. Some spoke of following other high-profile engineers defecting to rival startups. Others pondered whether to forcefully realign SpaceX's trajectory themselves. "We've made these dreams tangible before," Ilana continued. "Maybe it's on us now. We can try to reach him, call for a realignment of focus. Or," she paused, letting the heavy alternative hang in the air, "we move forward as captains of our own ship." Murmurs stilled into thoughtful silence as the team weighed their options. In that moment, Ilana felt something ineffable binding them, a shared purpose born of countless launch cycles, scrap designs, and miraculous successes. After what felt like an eternity, Steve broke the silence. "We have to try reaching him first. Put our articulate engineering minds to the next big problem, recapturing Elon's attention. Remind him of what brought us together in the first place." Ilana nodded. "Then we'll talk again. Set a timeline. If it doesn't work, we pivot. SpaceX is more than one man. It's us too." The meeting concluded with a glimmer of renewed determination. Each member resolved to reach Elon collectively, their united voices hopefully enough to regenerate his focus on their pioneering mission. Chapter 3: Political Chokehold. Back in Elon's orbit, his pivot from the technology sector into politics was experiencing its own metastasis. Twitter remained a volatile platform, its potential as a tool for enriching public discourse overshadowed by the chaos unleashed under his ethos of unrestricted speech. Regulators eyed his every tweet. "Free speech," he began, voice steady yet humble, "is a cornerstone of our society, but not at the expense of truth or respect. It requires balance and responsibility, a lesson I learned the hard way." Story. The candid admission seemed to resonate with the audience, many of whom had felt alienated by his previous rhetoric. Musk's transparency marked a turning point, an olive branch extended in the hope of rekindling lost trust. He transitioned smoothly to his space ambitions and the trials facing SpaceX and Tesla. "Our dreams of interplanetary life and sustainable energy are not abandoned. Mistakes have been made, but they have forged new paths in innovation and collaboration." His team's assertion at SpaceX, directed by Ilana's insistence for engagement, had not gone unnoticed. Their ultimatum was instrumental and served as a wake-up call, making him recognize the treasure troves of skill and dedication he had unwittingly taken for granted. Answering questions candidly, Elon invited dialogue from those present. Skeptics, armed with prepared barbs, found their inquiries met not with deflection, but with considered replies, earnest reflections on past decisions, and thoughtful considerations of future steps. As the session progressed, the ambiance shifted. Frustration made way for a cautious optimism. Musk's renewed vision carried the promise of bridging the chasm between idealism and pragmatism, ambition and humility. Chapter 5: Rebuilding Foundations. In the weeks that followed, actions spoke louder than words. SpaceX, rejuvenated by the resolve of its engineers, recommitted itself to the Mars mission with a reinvigorated timeline, drawing in talent from collaborators and allies worldwide. Leadership embraced direct involvement, devoid of external political noise. Tesla ramped up production under a revitalized structure, focusing keenly on quality control and the advent of next-generation battery technology. The energy division spurred innovation in solar solutions, adapting to evolving environmental challenges and catalyzing global initiatives for clean energy. On the political front, Musk engaged tirelessly in negotiations and discourse, promoting his ideals of technological stewardship as a means to uplift rather than dominate societal systems. Public perception began to shift. Not everyone was convinced of his transformation, but many recognized a genuine attempt to mend the fractures his previous hubris had etched. His personal journey mirrored these efforts. Where once he had thrived on frenetic, relentless drive, newfound experiences enriched by family, friendships, and contemplation provided a grounding that transcended erstwhile personal flaws. Chapter 6: The Rising. The world watched closely as Elon Musk navigated through the labyrinth of his creation, tilting the balance towards redemption. But it was not smooth sailing. Every step forward invited unexpected swells, reminders of the unforgiving landscape that lay beneath the surface of ambition. Story. His perseverance and humility, however, spoke to a leadership that could change and adapt, offering reassurances not only to his stakeholders, but to every hopeful visionary inspired by his journey. The road remained long, a future still unseen yet eagerly anticipated, but the Titan, having tasted collapse, clawed its way back, stronger for the fall, proof that true leadership grows not from the absence of failure, but through the resilience reborn within it. By actively choosing reflection over deflection, collaboration over isolation, and humility over hubris, the once stumbling Titan was finding his stride once more. The shadows of his recent past weren't entirely banished. Wounds of lost trust and difficult lessons lingered. Yet it was this very acknowledgement of imperfections that became Musk's most potent catalyst for change. As the world continued to turn, so did the wheel of innovation. Under his renewed stewardship, Tesla and SpaceX led groundbreaking initiatives. Tesla introduced a revolutionary autonomous driving system, merging AI advancements with unprecedented safety measures. SpaceX launched its most ambitious mission yet, a manned expedition to Mars, reigniting dreams of interplanetary habitation. These accomplishments weren't just technical feats. They represented the scars of past missteps transformed into lighthouses of the future. They affirmed that ambition, tempered with humility, could craft paths unseen, chiseling hope from the bedrock of previous despair. At this intersection of crises and rebirth, Elon Musk demonstrated a poignant truth, that the collapse of a Titan isn't the end of the story. Rather, it is an opportunity for rebirth, a testament to the enduring potential of human endeavor, and a narrative that embraces both the pitfalls and the pinnacles of the human experience. As Elon looked at the stars, visions of humanity reaching Mars freely danced in his imagination once more. They weren't just distant points of light. They were beacons, guiding him and countless others toward new horizons. A melody played out in his mind, a symphony of innovation and redemption, echoing the timeless dance between failure and triumph. As he stood observing rockets framed against a twilight sky, Musk realized that his most formidable creation was not a physical behemoth, but rather the nascent rebirth of ideals founded upon the resilience of human spirit. In reawakening that spirit, he knew he was not only forging a better future for himself or his companies, but for the world. An imperfect yet beautiful place ever in need of visionaries willing to learn from collapse and soar again towards the infinite.